Oh, I did not realize this flower was drowning. That is not a good way to start off my morning. Good morning. Okay, hi. That clock doesn't work. It's 8 a.m. I've only been up for like 15 minutes maybe. How long did I sleep? Next question. But I wanted to make a video. Well, I wanted to make one yesterday, but it was cloudy. And, well, it's still cloudy, but we have a little bit of sunlight. Wait, can you guys hear me right? Testing. All right. But yes, today's video, I wanted to talk about my experience working at Walmart. If what's his name? Sam Walton. Is that the Walmart CEO? Doug McMillan. No. Founder. Well, I gotta look out for him too. Sam Walton. Yeah. I hope those two don't come after me for making this video. Anyways, so I've been unemployed since around April, late April, and my last job was Walmart. Now, my previous work experience before that, my first real job was Little Caesars. I was there for about 6 months. Burger King, I was there for about the same amount of time. I actually kind of liked both those jobs, but Walmart took me a year to get this job, and then I got it. Now, I should have noticed this red flag, is they were too desperate, but yeah, I thought it would be chill, get some retail work experience, but no, it was evil, it was awful. They gave me the mark of the sunshine logo, they whipped me, gave me 30 lashings daily. No, it wasn't that bad. But yeah, on my first day, well, the funny thing was during orientation, they kind of just threw me in there. They're like, all right, we're gonna have you come in sometime in the afternoon. I say, all right. And I never really, these voice cracks are awful. I just woke up 15 minutes ago. This is my most vulnerable, it's my most raw, and I don't even have a script, nothing. So, anyways, yeah, so my first day, she was like, come in to finish up your videos. I did that exactly, and then I found my team leader. I was like, hey, I'm done with my videos, what should I do now? And he put me to work right away, immediately. So I was showing how to do some of the basic stuff. I was working in the meat department, where I did both, but my first day was in the meat. And he showed me some things around, and then like 30 minutes later, I was by myself. I wonder how quality that sip of water sounded. Anyways, so yeah, 30 minutes into the job, I was already all by myself in the meats. I had customers asking me questions, and I don't exactly have the best social skills. I tried to use my Walmart, I'm not gonna try to say that word I'm trying to use, my Walmart aura, okay? Try to help that out. But yeah, I was left alone, and yeah, that was a very interesting first day. So that I should have seen the red flags there. But anyways, later on into my long experience Walmart career, I started learning how to work in the produce section. I met my trainer, we'll call her Kay. She came one of the characters that made me quit. Oh, by the way, I only worked there for 2 weeks. So yeah, let me go into more details. I gotta get more thoughts spinning to talk about. Gotta wake up. But anyways, I worked with my friend, that was fun. And yeah, so I just kept kind of getting thrown into situations I didn't really know how to do, but I was doing my best. My trainer Kay, she was in love with me. She was like, you're the best person I train, you're so smart, you're so calm. Now, she may seem nice, but no, little did I know, she was the most evil and conniving coworker there. Not really. Anyways. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. It was pretty fun for the first few days. I was learning how to do meat and produce. It's pretty simple work, you know. Wasn't too bad. But it just kept kind of getting more and more tiresome. First, I was working full-time hours. When I applied for part-time, I only wanted around 20 hours a week, and I ended up getting 35. Started any blue-collar workers. I didn't want to work that long or that many hours in a week. I definitely did get hours, but it was too much. And I did get, you know, my first and last paycheck was pretty good. But yeah, things just kept noticing more and more things that were off. Oh, my screen turned off. Hello? Yeah, I kept noticing things that were off. People had a very weird vibe. You know, nobody was happy to be there. And you know, you don't go into work gallivanting, excited, you know, it's work. But when no one is happy at all, no one's smiling, nobody really wants to talk to you, except for the person training me and my friend, that just felt very, very off. But yeah, so I was learning the job more. And there was this one day, I believe it was, I don't know what was happening exactly, but it was inventory. Everybody was freaking out. My manager, she like straight up cussed one of my coworkers out. Well, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but she was very rude to him. I can't remember what the exact conversation was, but he like asked the question or he didn't do something yet, and then she was like, "Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking joking?" And I was like, goodness. Everybody was rushing, everybody was freaking out. But, you know, it was only my second day there, so, you know, who am I to say? But, yeah, the lady that I was training with, Kay, she was interesting. She was 60 years old, and she was like, you know, this job's chill. You'll love it here. You won't ever need another job. I don't know about that. But yeah, she became more, her facade of being this chill, cool, hip lady, it wore off quickly. She became more demanding, more weird. I remember the first time she kind of like crashed out, you were using the trash compactor. This is my favorite part of the job because when you go in there, okay, with all these boxes, it takes so long for some reason. It takes so long to get all the boxes in there and wait for the thing to crush them. You kill the time. This is my favorite part about the job. You kill a lot of time. But that also does become really boring and it feels like you're there forever. But anyways, this Kay, she continued to just be weirder. I don't know. So we were throwing boxes in together, which is weird because you don't really need to have like two people to do that. But the compactor was like stuck, and her reasoning was like the boxes were like in between the wall and the thing that crushes, which didn't make much sense to me because I don't know how I don't know what the exact weight is the compacting can crush, but a lot more than a few boxes jammed in the side. And yeah, so she was trying to push it down, and I was like, I don't know, should we have, I can't remember what the term was. Anyways, basically you open like the bottom door, you strap all the boxes, all the crush boxes down, and you pull it out. It's a process. I learned how to do that. And I told her, maybe we should do that. And then she was like, no, we don't need to do that. We just need to yank it down. Why aren't you helping me? And I was like, my goodness. So I helped her. And yeah. So next day, I don't remember every the exact same day I worked, but you know, I was learning more, I was getting some help, but there was still a lot of things I didn't really know, and I was like expected to know everything right away. One of them was the unloading the truck. That was annoying. I never like even used a pallet jack before that, but that was annoying to do. I didn't know what I was doing, but figured it out. The thing is, it's like, it's not the hardest work. It's simple, you just need someone to explain it to you a few times. But no, they don't want to help you out too much. But anyways, the one day that I worked by myself, wait, let me think. No, it wasn't the first day. It was one of these days I was in the produce section. I was like completely all alone. It was pretty busy, and I don't know, I just kept getting left alone quite often. I kept being treated like I was working there, like I'd been here for like a year or something. Maybe not a year, a few months maybe. I don't know. They were expecting way too much of me, make me do way too much, give me a lot of hours, and I just started. For me personally, I like being like adjusted into a job, you know? But I was really thrown out to the dogs. So let me wrap this up. Let me get to the real reasons why I abandoned Walmart. Okay. Kay, our main character. She straight up like actually completely lashed out at me. So it was the day before I had to work by myself in the meat section because my friend, he's the meat guy. He walks into Walmart and it's like, oh, that guy, he has the meat. Anyways, so the day after that, I'd be working alone. So I was having him, at this point it was only like a week. I only had a week's worth of experience. So I was telling him, you know, where's everything at in the meat locker, what I have to do, what I have to look out for, just kind of refresh me. So he showed me around. It's like 9:30, I get off at 10. About 20 minutes later, he kind of showed me everything around, and I went to go look for Kay. I was like, because I was working in produce with her for most of this, so I went to go try to find her. I was like, hey, you know, I was gonna tell her like, hey, you know, anything I need to do before we leave, and I couldn't find her. And by the way, at Walmart you get, was it a 7 or a 9 minute grace period? I think it was 7 minutes, but I could be wrong. It was like a 7 minute grace period, so that means you can clock out before or after time you're supposed to. So for example, I could have left at 9:53. So I took my vest off, was with my friend, couldn't find Kay. We're about to leave. It was only like 2 minutes, clock out. And then she came out, storming out of the produce room. She was like, where have you been? I was looking all over for you. And I was like, oh, well, my friend was just showing me how to, you know, just freshen my mind on how to do meat and everything. And then she was like, do you really need to leave that early? You're gonna have your vest off? It's only 9:53. What are you doing? Come on, I need your help. So I just followed her to the back room. I felt kind of bad. Oh, hi, kitty. Anyways, I felt kind of bad, but she was freaking out too much, so I didn't feel too bad at that time. So I was helping her with whatever she needed help with. Here's what she needed help with. Compost. She had 2 boxes of compost on 2 carts. She's like, you need to help me with this, man. You're just gonna leave? You're not gonna give me like the common courtesy that you're leaving and let me do all this work all by myself? Did I get the thumbnail? Yeah, so it was just 2 things. Just need to be pushed down the hall. And I was like, all right, I'm sorry. You know, I was looking for you too. I didn't know you needed help with this. I didn't even know this was a thing. And so we were pushing the carts down. She just kept like yelling at me. You know, she was like, do you have to leave? Do you have to leave right now? You know, you're supposed to help me out with this. We got to do this at the end of the day, which I did not know this is a thing we had to do at the end of the day because I've never done this before. She didn't tell me we were going to do this. And she was still freaking out. She was just yelling and yelling. And I was like, all right, whatever. And then when we were getting down the hallway, our manager, she was like, compost is full. You can't take that down. I was like, oh my God. No way. No way. So I took my cart down. I don't know where Kay went in the store. She disappeared. But yeah, and then I went up to the manager's like, okay, is there anything I need to do? Is there anything I need to do for this organization before I can go home? And she was like, nope, you're all good. I was like, great. So and then after that, I was pretty mad about the way I was talked to. You know, at my jobs, I've had like coworkers like kind of like get on me, but those are like fast food jobs. You know, everyone's in a rush. Everyone's kind of stressed out a little, right? And those are only during like rush hours, you know. But this is like literally, I could have left at this time, and she was like freaking out and yelling at me, and it ended up being over nothing. So that didn't sit right with me, you know. And I was very pissed off about the way that she spoke to me, basically. Yeah, so I didn't like that. And the next day, I was working meat section by myself. That was pretty cool. I like that. I didn't really have to, hello bird. I don't really have to talk to any coworkers. I was doing everything, you know, I had it down. But then I just kept thinking about it. I was like, man, I did not like the way I was talked to yesterday. I did not like the environment. I don't really like how many hours I'm getting already. Like I'm like sore, shoulders to toes. And I hope, well, not hope, I guess. This probably sounds like I just have a terrible work ethic. But maybe I do. That's why I'm unemployed right now. Enjoy your jobs, guys. But anyways, yeah, so it was just already these things. Wasn't really messing with it too much. But anyways, my last day, I felt sick. And it was before Easter, so it was really, really busy. It was Friday or something like that. Yeah, it was a Friday before Easter. I felt very sick. I wasn't in the best mood. I was in the back. I was like, oh my God, I actually feel really gross. I feel like I'm about to throw up, you know? Didn't feel good. Found let me turn my screen back on. Hello. This video is long. It's already 16 minutes. No one's gonna watch all this. Anyways, yeah. So I found my team lead. Hey, I'm sick. I literally about near threw up in my mouth. I did throw up in my mouth. And so he's like, oh, okay, go find manager. So I found her. I was like, hey, I'm really sick. I'd like to go home. You know, I'm sweating. I feel lightheaded. Almost threw up. It's like, oh, okay. We can go home, but that's 2 points taken off of you if you leave right now. If you don't know, you only have 5 points, 5 attendance points. It's already 2. So I had 3 attendance points left. The next day, I was actually very sick. Had to call in. It's already 2 points. And the day after that, it's like, fuck this. I don't want to work here. 1 point left. I was like, maybe I should, you know, I need the money. But then I thought about it. I only have 1 point left. I have 1 pinky on my hand left. And that's done. I get fired. So with all these combinations of things I've spoken about, and considering that I'm only 1 attendance point away from being eviscerated by Sam Walton himself, I decided to retire. So that was my experience at Walmart. Maybe a personal lack of work ethic because I didn't like the hours I was getting. Everyone was miserable. I was yelled at, lashed out at, left alone quite often. Very isolated. Okay, I'm very much exaggerating right now. But yeah, that was a lot of things that just kind of made me, it's not gonna worth being here. I don't feel good here. It's just not the right fit. All these things are pushing me away from Walmart's sweet embrace. So yeah, that was my experience at Walmart. Any Walmart workers that have quit or still work there, I'm very curious to hear other people's experiences. Anyways, thank you for watching, if you made it this far. I wanted to look at something before I went to sleep. One of my videos had a lot of views. I'm getting like quite a few subscribers. Yeah, 31 subscribers now. Thank you so much. And Yeah, this video. Unemployed man goes outside. 254 views. That is insane. That's crazy. So, thank you to everyone that's watched those videos, watching now and subscribed. This is a really long video. It's almost 20 minutes. Just talking, blabbering. So 31 subscribers now. Thank you everybody for subscribing. And I'm going to try to stay awake. Thank you and goodbye. Hello. Can I ask your opinion? What's your opinion on the house crisis in America? The car crisis. Everybody needs a house. Everybody needs a car. No one can afford one. What do you think? She's millions of dollars in debt, guys. Wow, Alright. Goodbye. Meow meow. Meow meow. Give up. Meow meow.